Oh, this is something that I've just spotted in my notes, and I have to bring up because I have to. And I think maybe you'll have a different idea. Tell me what you think when when she's in the bath. Oh, nearly. Or we're nearly there. We'll do a mashup of both of us, and maybe it will be accurate. She's in the bath, and he's, like they're having a bit of a flirt, and then he's like, says something like, "I'll come and join you with Prince Albert," and she's like, "I want the both of you." I want the both of you in the bath now. Yeah. God, she's not that French, is she? I'm sorry, Marianne.
And she's also not French in the film. Or is she? I couldn't tell.
She is. She says on her father's side, and her mother is a
Native American. Yeah.
So, what did you think that Johnny Depp meant by that?
What, by Prince Albert?
Yeah.
Is that not a piercing on the old chap? Is that what it's called?
on the old boy.
Yeah, the old boy.
Right. So it either, yes, you're correct, but it either was him saying that he had a large penis. This is me trying to think of a euphemism, and I just went penis.
Penis.
Either it's him saying it is a large chipolata, or he had a Prince Albert piercing, which it seemed that threw me a bit, because I was like, what a strange thing to put in the movie. And also it could have been possible, because the reason why that came about was because actually it was rumored, this might be hearsay, but it was rumored that Prince Albert had a rather large willy and had to pierce it to connect it to his trousers when very tight breeches were a thing, to like hook it on to the inside of his trousers so that it would lay flat and it wouldn't look like a big trouser snake down by his knee. I swear to God, this is a thing. So like, that's like the rumor of the Prince Albert piercing and why it's called a Prince Albert. So I thought it was really weird that they put that line in the movie for John Dillinger.
Do you want to know the historical fact?
Does he have John Dillinger? Does he have one?
So while you were talking about Prince Albert, I looked up John Dillinger, Prince Albert, and I found an article. Now, this could be bollocks, because this is an article from... Oh, actually, no, this probably isn't bollocks, right? Because it's from the Oxford University Press website. And it's entitled... I'll put a link in the description of this podcast if you want to check it out. It's called Is It True What They Said About John Dillinger? It's from 2009. It's written by Elliot J. Gorn. And...
Get to the good stuff, James. We don't care about that.
The first sentence of this is as follows. I'm reasonably sure that most American boys who reached adolescence in the 1960s knew about Dillinger's dick. It was enormous, preserved in formaldehyde at the Smithsonian Institution.
So why...
Friends of mine who grew up on the East Coast told me years later that on high school trips to Washington, the boys would spread out and look for it. Some even claimed that they saw it. A less well-known version of the story insisted that no, it wasn't in the Smithsonian, but at FBI headquarters, that for years it rested in a jar on J. Edgar Hoover's desk.
Oh, come on.
Others said it was actually nearby at the Army Medical Museum. Anyway, boys identified with the dead gunman and his parts. Everyone knew what you meant when you referred to my Dillinger. You're referring to your penis. I'm going to look to see.
I think that's total poppycock. There is no way that his Twig and Berries, or just Twig, would have been in formaldehyde on J. Edgar Hoover's desk? What madman or psychopath, which I don't think J. Edgar was, would keep a penis on their desk? Why would you want that? Who would take you seriously coming into the, oh, sorry, I was just wondering if, could I get Thursday? Oh, that's a giant wang on your desk. Could I get Thursday off anyway? Like, who would do that? What a bizarre rumor.
So,
but he had a large one. So that was the thought. Either it was pierced or it was a prize hog.
So here we go. So this is actually quite an interesting story. So the Smithsonian has a formal letter they send out routinely denying any knowledge of Dillinger's missing member. Even before the Smithsonian legend, Dillinger's manhood was part of oral tradition. Oral. Penis. Back in Indiana, the outlaw's home state, some said that he was so large that he was not a great lover. He would lose consciousness when aroused because so much blood drained towards his groin.
Yeah, I believe it, 100%.
The story of Dillinger's legendary proportions originated with a morgue photo that circulated just after he died. There he is on a gurney. Officials from the Cook County Coroner's Office gathered round, and the sheet covering him rising in a conspicuous tent at least a foot above his body, roughly around his loins, though truth be told, it looks more like where his navel should be. Probably his arm, rigid in rigor mortis, was under the sheet. No matter, it looked like he died with an enormous hard-on. This article. The damage was done. Hang on. In a literal sense, the story was not true. So in a literal sense, the story is almost certainly not true. Dillinger's autopsy reported nothing unusual about the man. Government workers just looked perplexed when asked about the legendary object. No one has ever produced substantial proof that the famed member exists. So there you go. So apparently,
I think that he probably had a large willy.
So I think that answers, though, at least why that weird line is in the film, because it's like a little fun little reference to this rumor that apparently this sort of folkloric tale about John Dillinger's penis that seems to have spread across America. So there you go.
He did definitely operate with that BDE, big dick energy, for listeners who aren't familiar.
It took me a while to work it out, to be fair.
Yeah, he did, for sure. The certainty of that man escaping from jail and, driving out the sheriff's car oh so calmly, all of that that's BDE all over it, isn't it?
Yeah, I suppose it is, yeah. Christian Bale in this film doesn't exert much BDE, really.
No. Got a little squeaker.